The film opens in a crowded movie theater. As Harry sits watching the film, he notices a young man several rows ahead aggressively forcing himself on a girl who is clearly uncomfortable. Refusing to ignore the situation, Harry grabs a handful of popcorn and throws it at the young man, interrupting him.
I said friends only.
Hey.
Humiliated and enraged, the young man glares back at Harry before storming out. Later that evening, as Harry exits the cinema, he finds the same young man waiting outside, looking for revenge. The confrontation quickly turns physical, but Harry easily overpowers him and walks away. That night, Harry returns home. Concerned that he hasn't heard from his daughter, he tries calling her, but she doesn't answer. He leaves a voicemail asking her to call him back when she gets the chance.
As a coach this time. I know it's really something else, huh? All right, well, call me back anytime. Let's get lunch. It's your dad, by the way.
Moments later, his phone rings. Relieved, Harry sees that the call is coming from his daughter's phone. However, the voice on the other end is not hers. It belongs to Detective Jack, who delivers devastating news. Harry's daughter had been brutally assaulted by a man she had gone on a date with and is now fighting for her life in the hospital. The news shatters Harry. It becomes clear that he is a single father and that his daughter is the only family he has left. Desperate and terrified, he rushes to the hospital, where Detective Jack provides more details about the attack. Harry remains by his daughter's bedside, hoping for a miracle, but despite the doctor's efforts, she succumbs to her injuries. Consumed by grief, Harry struggles to cope with the loss. In the following scene, the story jumps ahead to a courtroom. Harry sits silently as the man responsible for his daughter's death stands before the judge. After hearing the evidence, the court finds him guilty and sentences him to life imprisonment. As the sentence is read, Harry feels no sense of relief or closure, only the overwhelming pain of losing the person he loved most.
Please remove Mr. McCoy from the courtroom.
After the tragic death of his daughter, Harry returns to his job as a high school wrestling coach. Although he tries to resume a normal life, the guilt of losing his daughter continues to haunt him. He blames himself every day, and the pain has made him distant and short-tempered. At the wrestling hall, Harry trains a group of young athletes. Among them is Katia, a talented but inconsistent teenager who dreams of becoming a professional wrestler. Katia and Harry constantly clash. Harry believes she wastes her potential, while Katia feels he is overly critical of her. Their arguments become so frequent that Katia eventually storms out of practice and quits the team. Later that evening, Katia returns home. It is revealed that she lives with her mother and her stepfather, Tom. The household is far from peaceful. Tom is controlling and abusive, often taking out his frustrations on Katia. During a heated argument, Tom slaps her across the face. Furious and heartbroken, Katia grabs a few belongings and leaves the house. As she walks alone along a dark road, Harry happens to spot her while driving home. Concerned, he pulls over and asks what happened. Katia reluctantly tells him everything: the abuse, the constant fear, and how her biological father abandoned her when she was a child, leaving her mother to raise her alone. With nowhere else to go, Katia asks Harry if she can spend the night at his house. Harry hesitates. Knowing how inappropriate that could appear and wanting to handle the situation properly, he refuses. Instead, he drives her back home and assures her that he will find a way to help. The next morning, Harry reports Katia's situation to the school authorities, hoping they will intervene. However, his concerns are dismissed due to a lack of evidence, leaving him frustrated and powerless. Later that day, Harry encounters Katia in the school cafeteria. He immediately notices a bruise on her face and realizes the abuse has continued. The sight reminds him of his own daughter and reignites the protective instincts he has been trying to bury. That night, Harry goes to Katia's house. Katia secretly lets him inside. Harry confronts Tom and warns him to stay away from her. Tom mocks him, and the situation quickly escalates into a physical confrontation. Despite Tom's larger size, Harry's years of wrestling experience give him the advantage. After a brutal struggle, Harry overpowers him and leaves him injured and humiliated on the floor. As Harry walks away, Katia watches in silence. For the first time in a long while, she feels that someone is willing to stand up for her. For Harry, however, the confrontation awakens something dangerous inside him, the same rage and guilt he has been carrying since the death of his daughter. Following his violent confrontation with Tom, Harry is brought in for police questioning. Despite the evidence against him, the authorities are unable to hold him for long, and he is eventually released. Meanwhile, Tom receives a mysterious phone call from a man offering him participation in a highly lucrative but dangerous operation. Sensing the risks involved, Tom initially refuses.
I don't think so. It's too risky.
Come on, yo.
We're talking about 10 grand up front, cash on hand.
However, after giving it more thought, he later calls back and agrees.
10 grand up front. As advertised, my boy. All right, I'll see you in about an hour.
The nature of the business remains unknown for the time being. Later that day, Harry is relaxing at home when he receives a devastating call. Katia has gone missing. Panicked, Harry rushes to the school. Security footage from earlier that day reveals Katia willingly entering a vehicle driven by an unidentified man. Convinced that Tom knows more than he is saying, Harry storms to Tom's house that same evening. The confrontation quickly turns violent. Harry overwhelms Tom and demands answers about Katia's whereabouts. Before things can escalate further, Katia's distraught mother arrives. Through tears, she begs Harry to find her daughter. Harry promises her that he will bring Katia home. Soon afterward, Tom finds himself tied up in the back of Harry's car. Harry relentlessly interrogates him, desperate for any lead. Tom eventually directs him to a man named Sergio, the same individual who had called him earlier. Harry tracks Sergio down. Using Tom as leverage, he forces his way into Sergio's home. After a brutal struggle, Harry subdues Sergio and finally gets the truth. Katia has been kidnapped and sold into a human trafficking network operating out of Las Vegas. Determined to rescue her, Harry begins the journey west. During the drive, his friend Jack calls him. "Where are you?" Jack asks. "Las Vegas." Knowing exactly what Harry intends to do, Jack responds with a warning. "Don't do anything stupid." Harry hangs up. Arriving in Las Vegas, Harry follows the address provided by Sergio. Posing as a wealthy buyer interested in purchasing one of the trafficked girls, he gains access to the organization. There he meets Rich, a cautious trafficker who suspects Harry may be an undercover cop. To prove his legitimacy, Harry suggests that Rich call Sergio. Since Sergio is already under Harry's control, he confirms Harry's cover story describing him as a wealthy client with a disturbing preference for underage girls. Satisfied, Rich grants Harry access to an upcoming private auction. Harry is escorted into a secluded room and handed a bidder's tag. A screen lights up with videos of girls available for purchase. Then Harry freezes. Among them is Katia. His heart sinks. The auction begins. Harry immediately places a bid. Another buyer counters. Harry raises his offer again. The unknown bidder responds with an even higher amount. As the bidding war intensifies, Harry realizes he is running out of money. Desperate, he contacts Jack. Using his technical expertise, Jack traces the competing bidder's location and discovers his vehicle parked outside the hotel. Moments later, the bidder receives a phone call informing him that his car is being towed. Distracted, the bidder leaves the auction. For a brief moment, Harry becomes the highest bidder. But seconds before the auction closes, another buyer enters with an even larger bid. Harry loses. And with it, Katia. Consumed by panic and rage, Harry abandons all caution. He tears through the hotel, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. Security guards, traffickers, and enforcers all fall before him as he fights his way toward the organization's leader. Eventually, Harry corners Rich's boss and brutally forces him to reveal the location of the warehouse where the girls are being held. Without hesitation, Harry races to the warehouse. Inside, he finds dozens of captive girls guarded by armed men. A relentless battle follows. One by one, Harry takes them down. Despite his exhaustion and injuries, he frees Katia and the other victims. As the survivors are escaping, Harry comes face to face with Rich. For the first time, Rich reveals a shocking truth. He was the man responsible for Harry's daughter's death. The person convicted for the crime was innocent. The revelation shatters Harry. Blinded by grief and fury, he attacks Rich with everything he has left. But after nearly 24 hours of nonstop fighting, interrogation, and travel, Harry's body finally gives out. Rich overpowers him. He raises a gun and prepares to execute Harry. Suddenly, a gunshot echoes through the warehouse.
Die, motherfucker!
Rich's eyes widen. He collapses to the floor. Standing behind him is Jack, holding a smoking pistol. Rich dies instantly. Harry is saved. Months later, life has begun to heal. Katya has returned to wrestling and is performing better than ever. Her confidence has been restored, and her dream of becoming a professional wrestler is once again within reach. From the sidelines, Harry watches proudly. For the first time since losing his daughter, he finally allows himself a moment of peace. As Katya wins another match, Harry smiles. Fade to black. The end.